subscribe, and like video. The Curse of Blackpaw. The town of Ash Hollow had always been a quiet place. Too quiet. Tucked between the dense pines and the mist-laden hills, its people knew better than to venture out after sundown, not because of thieves or wild animals, but because of something far worse. Blackpaw, the cursed dog that haunted their nights. No one knew where Blackpaw had come from. Some claimed he had been the pet of an old woman accused of witchcraft, slaughtered by fearful townsfolk decades ago. Others whispered that he had been a loyal companion to a grieving mother who had drowned herself in the river, unable to bear the loss of her child. Whatever the truth, the dog was no ordinary beast. It had prowled the town for 20 years, neither aging nor tiring, its glowing amber eyes reflecting the horrors buried in a person's soul. Those who locked eyes with it never spoke of what they saw, for those who did never lasted long. A midnight encounter. It was the dead of night when Ethan Moore made the mistake of staying out too late. He had been drinking at the local bar, his nerves frayed from a week of sleepless nights. His father had died mysteriously when he was just a boy, and lately the nightmares had returned, visions of something unseen, something lurking in the dark, whispering his name. The streets of Ash Hollow were empty as he staggered home, the cold wind biting at his skin. The only sound was the distant rustling of trees and the faint trickle of the creek. But then, another sound, a low growl. Ethan froze. From the shadows, a figure emerged. It was a dog, large, black as midnight, its fur matted with something dark and wet. Its paws left damp prints on the cracked pavement. But it was the eyes that made Ethan's breath hitch. They burned with an unnatural glow, like molten gold, boring into him with an intensity that sent ice through his veins. A wave of nausea rolled over him, and a whisper, thin and insidious, curled around his ears. Ethan. His body stiffened. His mind screamed at him to run, but his legs refused to move. The dog took a step forward, and as its gaze deepened, the world around Ethan shifted. A glimpse into hell. The street melted away. The stars overhead bled into darkness. He was no longer in Ash Hollow. He was somewhere else. The scent of rotting wood and damp earth filled his nostrils. He knew this place. He had been here before. The old well, the one his father used to warn him about. A sickening dread settled in his stomach. A shadow loomed over the well, something writhing inside it. A voice, low and rasping, echoed from within. "Come closer, Ethan." His heart slammed against his ribs. This wasn't real. It couldn't be real. The dog's growl rumbled in his ears, and suddenly he was 7 years old again, standing at the edge of the well, his father beside him. A memory? No. A nightmare reborn. The moonlight revealed something rising from the depths. A figure, its limbs too long, its face wrong. A twisted, waterlogged corpse with hollow sockets where eyes should be. It opened its mouth, and a grotesque, gurgling sound spilled out. "You left me," Ethan screamed. The thing in the well was his father. The dog barked, sharp, deafening, and Ethan was back on the street, gasping for air. His hands trembled, his clothes soaked with sweat. The cursed dog stood before him, its eyes dimming, its head tilting as if in satisfaction. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, Blackpaw turned and disappeared into the shadows. Ethan collapsed to his knees, the weight of his past crushing him. His father hadn't died in an accident. He had drowned himself in that well, and Ethan, young and terrified, had been there, watching and doing nothing. The curse was real. and now it had seen into his soul. He wasn't sure what terrified him more, that Blackpaw had shown him his past, or that it might return one night to show him his future. Thank you for watching the video to the end. If you have any ideas, you can write them in the comments. I will take them into account and apply them to the next video.